first 25 years of my life were full of secrets, full of shame, full of violence, full of crime, full of I mean, that was just social skills whatsoever. If you were on fire, I don't care unless you owed me money.
We now shift our conversation with an actor who for more than 30 years has endeared himself to millions around the world as the ultimate tough guy with nearly 400 acting credits to his name, Danny Trejo.
At 81, Danny Trejo stands as a living legend, an icon shaped by battles most people never survive. But behind the fierce tattoos, the unforgettable roles, and the unbreakable persona lies a quiet storm he's carried for decades. It began long before Hollywood embraced him, long before fame transformed his name into a symbol of grit and redemption. And now, as new revelations emerge, the weight of his journey is more devastating than anyone imagined. So, what heartbreaking truth has finally come to light about Danny Trejo's life? The making of a survivor. Danny Trejo's journey didn't begin on Hollywood sets or under the glimmering lights of fame. It started in the harsh, unforgiving streets of Echo Park, Los Angeles. Poverty pressed down on every corner of his life, and comfort was a rare, fleeting visitor in a childhood filled with chaos. Violence lurked around every turn. Homes were broken, promises of safety shattered like fragile glass, and the only certainty was uncertainty itself. From an early age, Danny learned that life could be cruel, unpredictable, and merciless. These early trials shaped him, teaching resilience, toughness, and the courage to survive a world that offered little mercy. Amid the chaos of his early life, Danny found an unlikely guide in his Uncle Gilbert, a man who was as unpredictable as he was magnetic. Gilbert opened doors to thrills and dangers Danny had never known, from wild adventures to the seductive, destructive allure of substances that promised escape but often brought pain. He was protector and tempter, mentor and mischief maker, revealing the world's excitement and peril in equal measure. Under Gilbert's watch, Danny quickly realized that survival wasn't a choice. It was instinct. Life would test him relentlessly, and only toughness, both of the mind and body, would allow him to endure, adapt, and stand tall against every challenge thrown his way. By the time Danny entered his teenage years, the streets had become his relentless teacher. Every shadowed alley, every deserted corner, every uncertain night carried lessons that no school could ever offer. He discovered endurance, the kind that pushes you forward when hope feels distant. He forged resilience, the strength to rise again and again, even when life keeps knocking you down. And he honed a toughness that was raw and unyielding, a hard-won armor against a world determined to break him. Each hardship shaped him, building a spirit both unbreakable and fearless. But the lessons life forced upon him through pain and hardship would later become the backbone of something remarkable. The boy who once trembled at life's unpredictability, who dreaded the next fight, betrayal or setback, learned to turn every wound into strength. The very streets that had once shown him no mercy now forged a man of unbreakable resolve. Danny Trejo became someone who could face any obstacle with courage and grit, a force that could not be easily shaken. His raw intensity and authenticity, born of struggle, would not only define him in the neighborhoods that shaped him, but also eventually captivate audiences worldwide, making his journey truly unforgettable. In the chaos of his early years, a legend was quietly being built, not in rehearsals or scripts, but in the real, hard-earned struggle for survival. And from those streets, Danny would emerge, carrying every scar, every lesson, every heartbreak, as the raw material that would make him Hollywood's indomitable force, The man audiences would come to know as fearless, unforgettable, and utterly alive. Unlike many children, Danny's childhood was marked by violence, broken homes, and relentless uncertainty. But where would such a harsh beginning lead him? Would it break him or reshape him? Now, let's delve into Danny Trejo's rise from darkness. Redemption in action. Prison could have been the dark finale of Danny Trejo's life, a story written in shadows, mistakes, and regret. Yet, rather than breaking him, it became the furnace that forged his true character. Within those cold, unyielding walls, amid strict routines and relentless challenges, Danny found a path to transformation. Boxing was more than a sport. It became a discipline of the mind and body, a way to channel fear, anger, and frustration into focused strength. Every punch, every bead of sweat, taught endurance, resilience, and the fierce power of determination. What seemed destined to destroy him instead became the cornerstone of a new life. Beyond the lights of fame and the applause of accolades, Danny Trejo emerged as a living testament to perseverance, redemption, and the extraordinary power of choice. His life showed that no matter how dark, chaotic, or violent one's past might be, it doesn't have to define the future. Every mistake, every scar, and every heart-wrenching setback became a stepping stone, shaping him into the man he was determined to be. With courage as his compass and resilience as his guide, Danny turned suffering into strength, despair into determination, and a troubled history into a story of triumph that inspires all. Danny Trejo's journey from prison walls to the heights of Hollywood is more than a story of fame. It is a testament to human resilience. It is a narrative of transformation that reminds us all, even when life seems determined to break you, the strength to rebuild, to find purpose, and to live fully is always within reach. Through sheer will, courage, and relentless determination, Danny showed that even the darkest beginnings can lead to the brightest legacies. But did his struggles truly end there? What other battles did he face beyond the silver screen? Now, let's uncover the unseen trials of Danny Trejo's remarkable life. Strength beyond the spotlight, but even at the peak of his fame, Danny Trejo's life never brought him true peace. While the cameras immortalized his success, and fans celebrated every performance, the world behind the scenes was harsh and unpredictable. Financial troubles loomed like heavy storm clouds, ready to shatter the stability he had fought so hard to build over decades. Sudden debts and unforeseen challenges arrived without warning, serving as constant reminders that surviving life's battles is never a final victory. It is an unending journey, one that demands relentless courage, careful planning, unwavering resilience, and the strength to keep moving forward. No matter the storm, no matter how fierce the storms of life became, Danny faced every challenge with steady dignity, unshakable integrity, and a quiet, unyielding courage. When financial pressures mounted, he made tough choices, selling assets, carefully reorganizing his money, and pushing forward with relentless effort. Yet, his struggle was never just about survival. He remained deeply committed to his craft, pouring his energy into every role with passion and precision. Beyond the screen, he gave back to the community that had shaped him, living by the values and principles that had carried him through decades of hardship, proving that true strength is as much heart as it is resilience. But Danny's trials went far beyond money or contracts. From the chaos of an acid-threatened parade at the age of 80 to years filled with violent encounters, betrayal, and heartbreak, his life reads like an unbroken gauntlet of tests. And yet, Despite everything, he consistently chose paths that most would find impossible. Grace over anger, peace over pride, and resilience over despair. This is the kind of heroism that cannot be scripted, captured on camera, or dramatized for the silver screen. It is the courage to stand tall when every reason exists to crumble, the discipline to endure deep pain without surrender, and the humility to rise again even when the world expects you to fall. Danny Trejo's life shows that true strength isn't about never facing pain. It's about moving through it with focus, calm, and purpose. His story is one of quiet heroism, far beyond Hollywood lights and red carpets. It's not measured by money, fame, or awards, but by the courage, grace, and determination he brings to every challenge. Across decades of setbacks, heartbreak, and danger, Danny has proven that real power comes from confronting life's trials head-on, wearing resilience and compassion like armor, and emerging not broken, but stronger, wiser, and unshakably alive. A living testament to the triumph of spirit over circumstance. In witnessing his journey, the world sees that greatness is not always loud or celebrated, and victory is not always defined by awards or applause. Sometimes, the greatest triumph is simply the refusal to be defeated. Danny Trejo's life stands as living proof that courage is a choice, strength is cultivated through struggle, and a man's legacy is defined not by the hardships he encounters, but by the dignity, resolve, and humanity with which he rises above them. Even at the height of fame, Danny faced debt, betrayal, and relentless challenges. Yet money wasn't the heaviest loss he bore. But how does he weather the storms that strike the heart? Let's uncover the details. The battles of the heart. Danny Trejo's personal life has often reflected the same turbulence and unpredictability that marked his journey through the wider world. Just as he battled fate, fortune, and circumstance in his public life, his relationships revealed an equally profound struggle, one that was quieter, more intimate, yet no less defining. His first marriage, fragile from the outset, eventually collapsed under the weight of unmet expectations, misunderstandings, and the pressures of a life that was far from ordinary. Though it ended in heartbreak rather than bitterness, it left deep impressions on Danny, teaching lessons that could not be learned from scripts, stunts, or the glare of Hollywood lights. Love returned, quietly but meaningfully, in the fleeting bond Danny shared with Diana Walton. Though their time together was short, it offered a rare taste of warmth, joy, and the closeness of another human heart, an oasis amid the storms that had long shaped his life. Yet, like so many precious moments he had known, it slipped away sooner than he had hoped. Even as the relationship ended, it left an enduring mark, a reminder that love is both a gift and a test, requiring courage, patience, and timing that life rarely perfectly grants. Over time, Danny's relationship with Debbie Sheep slowly began to fall apart. It wasn't a stormy, cinematic breakup full of shouting or drama. Its quietness made it almost invisible. Yet, the sense of loss was just as heavy. Every ending he faced, every heartbreak, became a test of his character, revealing the strength and depth of his spirit. Danny continued to love fully, even when life didn't return the favor. Each setback reflected not weakness, but a remarkable resilience, a steadfast ability to open his heart, endure pain, and keep moving forward with courage and grace. These personal chapters reveal a fuller picture of Danny Trejo, not only the fearless actor and Hollywood icon, but the man behind the fame, a devoted father, a partner striving to mend and understand, and a human navigating life's highs and lows. Even when love falters, he remains present, showing up for his family with quiet dedication. His courage is not measured in dramatic acts, but in the steady, unwavering commitment to those he loves. Through every struggle, Danny teaches that true strength comes from showing up, enduring, and holding hope, even in disappointment. Danny's personal journey teaches that endings, though painful, often impart lessons far richer than beginnings. They reveal patience, humility, and the quiet strength required to grow despite loss. In these private battles, Danny Trejo proves that resilience is as much about the heart as it is about the body, that vulnerability is a form of strength, and that a life lived fully, though scarred by heartbreak, can still shine with meaning, love, and humanity. He endured a string of heartbreaks that left his heart exposed and vulnerable. But what other terrifying challenge did he face? Now, let's delve into Danny Trejo's harrowing fight with cancer. Silent battles and unseen courage. In 2010, Danny Trejo received news that would shake even the strongest of men. He was diagnosed with a dangerous form of liver cancer. For someone who had endured decades of hardship, violence, and survival on the edge, this diagnosis came as a stark and unexpected reality. Despite a life marked by tough living and advancing age, Trejo had always tried to maintain his health. Yet, as he told The Sun, cancer doesn't discriminate. You can be healthy, but it'll still get to you. I had a 10-centimeter tumor in my liver, and they said it was too big to start chemo. The shock of such news is hard to fathom. For most people, even sharing the news with loved ones can feel overwhelming. For Trejo, it was compounded by his professional commitments and personal pride. At the time, he had just signed on to several lucrative film projects, 6 contracts, to be exact, that would define his career and secure his livelihood. Revealing his illness could have jeopardized these opportunities. He explained, "The bad part was, I had about 6 contracts already signed, and I was making major money. And so I couldn't tell anybody that I had cancer. I always say I had just suffered in silence." Even in the midst of this intensely personal battle, Danny Trejo's strength shone brighter than the fear around him. He refused to give in to panic or self-pity, knowing that despair would only weaken him. "At first I thought, 'God, why me?'" he admitted, but almost instantly, a new perspective took hold. "Then I thought, how would it feel to be 12 and facing cancer?" That realization reminded him that suffering is universal, and true courage often rises when the odds seem insurmountable, revealing the heart's extraordinary power to endure. Trejo's approach to his illness reflected the same grit and determination that had defined his life. He did not dwell on questions of unfairness or fate. Instead, he faced his diagnosis with honesty, pragmatism, and a quiet sense of duty to himself, his family, and the commitments he had made. Even while confronting a potentially deadly disease, he maintained the discipline, courage, and work ethic that had carried him through decades of hardship, proving once again that his strength was not merely physical, but deeply rooted in his spirit. Danny Trejo's battle with liver cancer was more than a medical fight. It was a test of resilience, humility, and perspective. It showed that even in the face of life-threatening adversity, he could endure with courage, continue to fulfill his responsibilities, and remain a symbol of perseverance for millions who look to his life as a blueprint of relentless strength, even when the odds seem insurmountable. Danny Trejo faced liver cancer in silence, meeting fear with courage, resilience, and unshakable strength. But how did he turn a lifetime of pain and hardship into a life full of meaning and purpose? Now, let's uncover Danny Trejo's unstoppable journey of redemption, from survival to significance. Even after a lifetime marked by relentless trials, prison sentences, violent riots, painful divorces, debilitating illness, and the unyielding pressures of Hollywood. Danny Trejo's story is far more than one of mere survival. It is a story of awakening, of revelation, and ultimately, of profound renewal. Every scar he bore, every setback he endured, every moment that might have shattered a lesser spirit instead became a stepping stone, forging a man unwilling to surrender to despair. The battles Danny faced were not only external, fought against circumstance and fate, but also deeply personal. Liver cancer, years of physical pain, and the unstoppable passage of time reminded him repeatedly that surviving alone is never enough. Life demanded more. It demanded meaning. It demanded purpose. In the quiet spaces away from Hollywood's glaring cameras and relentless spotlight, Danny discovered a truth that many spend their entire lives seeking. Genuine meaning is never born from fame, fortune, or public recognition. It is built from the choices we make to lift ourselves and others above pain, to transform hardship into opportunity. He returned to disciplined training, pushing both body and mind to maintain strength, focus, and resilience. A practice that had once saved him in the harshest corners of his youth. He devoted himself to charitable work, reaching out to those struggling in ways he once knew all too well, offering hope to the hopeless and guidance to the lost. Fatherhood became Danny's guiding star, a powerful anchor giving his life new direction and meaning. Through consistent presence, heartfelt care, and steadfast devotion to his children, he taught resilience, compassion, and responsibility, the very lessons life had painfully carved into him. In the quiet, often overlooked moments, gentle words of encouragement, small acts of kindness, and the simple practice of living with integrity, Danny found a sense of purpose and fulfillment that no fame, award, or Hollywood spotlight could ever match. In raising his children, he discovered a life richer than any script or role could offer. This final chapter of Danny Trejo's life shines a light on the remarkable power of redemption. It proves that dignity, compassion, and the courage to rise after every fall are always within reach, no matter how troubled one's past may be. Trejo's journey shows that where life begins does not decide where it ends, that brokenness can be reshaped into strength, and that even the most chaotic and painful experiences can become sources of hope. His life stands as a living testament to the power of resilience, determination, and heart that can transform hardship into inspiration. Ultimately, Danny Trejo's life stands as a powerful testament to the human spirit's strength. Surviving hardships is one thing, but surviving with purpose, compassion, and unwavering determination transforms existence into something significant. From broken beginnings and painful trials, he rose again and again, turning struggle into courage, setbacks into lessons, and heartache into resilience. His journey shows that even the most difficult pasts can lead to extraordinary and unforgettable endings, lives that leave a lasting mark not through fame or wealth, but through the courage, integrity, and impact one leaves behind. So, what do you make of Danny Trejo's tragedies? Could he ever fully recover from them all at old age? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.